Oh, it's time to take a peek inside of MoMA. It's time to take a peek inside of MoMA. Not to be confused with Mama, which would be a different experience. MoMA is the Museum of Modern Art, and I know you probably spent most of your life thinking, I don't care what the executive, I don't care what the people behind the people behind the Museum of Modern Art think about anything. But they decided to express their feelings, and they're going to comment on race, and specifically white people. They feel it's their duty. It's as liberal. They feel it's their duty. It's as liberal, elite, artistic type white folk. They've got to do their part. They have to be on the right side of history, which is, against white people. So a day ago they did a stream for a couple hours, and it was about the white male. That's the title of it. The description to their video was a little bit alarming. Let's read it. Let's get into it. Welcome. Video currently has 78. The video currently has 78 likes, 95 dislikes. Ominous. Now check this. I've never heard such an eloquent paragraph to describe fuck whites. It is truly glorious. It is myriad. We're starting it with myriad. So we're at that level. Myriad recent cultural, among them the debris recent cultural and political events. Among them the debris surrounding the 2016 U.S. election, the Me Too movement, and the latest Supreme Court confirmation hearing have reawakened a public discussion on the centuries-old power structure that contemplates the unabated supremacy of white men. Okay. So this is the intersection of fuck men and fuck whites. Fuck white men. It's very simple. And I like how they're reading the tea leaves. So 2016, we have an election. It's obviously contentious, as most elections are. I guess when Obama was elected president, it wasn't a referendum on fuck black men. No, everybody was cool with that. And somehow the Me Too movement, is staring at white men is a condemnation of white men too? How does that make sense? I mean, people of color commit more acts of sexual violence than anyone else. So don't even get me started with that. And I like how they throw in Kavanaugh on the confirmation hearings of Kavanaugh. So let me get that straight. Kavanaugh gets pushed through the Supreme Court, and that's a reflection on white supremacy. But Clarence Thomas gets pushed through, even though he was accused of sexual harassment. But because he's a black man, I guess, is it black supremacy then? Or it doesn't make sense? Okay, that should tell you that it doesn't register as a logical argument. But oh yeah, white men have done well in a white country. So that's a problem. I mean, you statistically should expect that. I don't see why you wouldn't. I have no idea why you wouldn't expect that. I don't see why you wouldn't. I have no idea. Statistically should expect that. I don't should expect that. I have no idea why you wouldn't expect that. And in my estimation, it's another example. Estimation white. It's another my estimation. It's another example of white majority being synonymous with white supremacy. It is not. It is statistically normal. The label white man is now actively used in public discourse and acknowledged as part of identity politics. Instead of instead of remaining instead of remaining as the baseline for all definitions, largely unmentioned. Large Exactly. So they translate that. Talking about people being white men, it, it it used to not mean anything because it doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of white men doing stuff. It doesn't really make sense to keep calling out, oh, these are white men. These are white men again doing something. The only time people use white male and highlight, oh, there's white people doing this, white men are doing this, is when they harbor resentment, either in the form of jealousy or just straight up bitterness. They are haters. They want to be us, they envy what we accomplish, and they just rage. And so they say, oh, God, how many white men are in NASA? Fucking bullshit, right? The Oscars are too white. The NFL owners, they're all white. I mean, shit. It's a problem, right? Nowadays, it is often even used pejoratively and as a stereotyping tactic. Oh, right. As if the person who wrote this isn't one of the very people who use it as a pejorative. This time of reckoning, fascinating line. Did you hear this? This should be accompanied with a light shift, as in turn the lights off, with a light, accompanied with a light shift, as in turn the lights off and cue the music. The time of reckoning? What the is this Children of the Corn? Are we going to be led out into the fields and slaughtered? The time of reckoning has, however, also sensitized public opinion. Reckoning has, however, also sensitized public opinion to the fact that white men, like any other identity, are not a monolithic group. Oh, we're not? And therefore a more nuanced approach is required for a constructive debate and for the health of our society. Okay, so they're about to get super nuanced. They're the guardians of nuance. The guardians of nuance. Well, I'm the ambassador of the white race. Self-appointed, and yet never contended, because it is universally agreed upon that I speak from the heart and the soul of the Caucasoid. Of the Caucasoid. Join an important and nuanced conversation. Double the nuance. In this MoMA R&D salon hosted by Paola Antonelli, Italian, white, senior curator of architecture and design. Wait, so you study architecture and design, but you're talking about white men and, throwing dirt on us? Shade? What? Okay, so let's get into it. The first moment I want to highlight, and just to let you know what page we're on with these people, a woman, this Italian woman, mentions the fact that white people will be the minority in America, and it is met with applause. It's not the first time I've seen this online. It is quite shocking, incredibly awkward. The 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 woman actually addresses it and tries to be like, "Oh, that just happened." Watch.
Tell me now, can you help ease my mind? I'm trying to ease my
masculinity types. She doesn't express herself that way, but in the second sex, she really argues that in a way, masculinity is acquired. One is taught to be a male, and necessarily, but just the fact of having been born. We said, don't worry about unless we are transgender black women, that's really the bottom rung of society and the most endangered. We have some privilege, me much more than other white male, even more so. This is what I found. We always have to do this. We always have to Google stock photography of white men. This is the first group that I got. They're all doing okay. Then, interestingly, right after, in the same Google page, I got this guy, and in the same page, I got this guy. Very interesting. So this reminds me also of Simone de Beauvoir. The idea that we are not born white, we're not born toxic masculinity types. She doesn't express herself.
Yeah, I actually was born white. So I'm not sure where you're going with that. And as far as toxically masculine, I wasn't until they slapped on a blue little baby outfit for me. Until they slapped me in a blue onesie. So, until they slapped on a blue little baby outfit for me. And then I was like, oh God, gender, oh my God, it's gender, and then I was like, oh God, oh my God, it's gender. And then I was like, oh my God, it's gender, I gotta conform to the stereotypes, I gotta conform to the gender, I gotta conform to the stereotypes. And then from that, I gotta conform to the stereotypes. And then from that point on, it was just completely toxic.
That way, but in the second sex, she really argues that in a way, masculinity is acquired. One is taught to be a male, and so much of this white supremacy rage that is happening right now, it is of course embodied.
Oh, do you see? Oh, do you see Dylan Roof? Our good friend Dylan Roof there. Wait, how is the Batman shooter a white supremacist? The fuck? The fuck? Guy was insane. Can we just make it a rule? If you kill other white people, you're not a white supremacist? Or you're a severely bad one? I like how they called the Nazis white supremacists. They have like 100 million kills on their... They almost performed a white genocide. They almost single-handed, but apparently they're white, so they probably did it for white reasons. Wait, what? Did they show the Columbine shooters too? The Columbine shooters were white supremacists? Nobody heard that back then. Nobody framed it as that. They were losers and nerds who were bullied, and they didn't fit in, and so they rage quit life and again killed whites. The hell? Is that the rule? Is that the rules of the game? So if you have a beef with white people, you could just go through all of humanity, find whoever you want, so long as they're white, and then just add them to the list of, oh, they're probably white supremacists. Can I do that with blacks? Oh, because I'm going to go through the history books of Africa, and, well, they didn't know how to read or write for most of that, so a lot of it was lost in the oral tradition.
By white men, and on purpose we have avoided using the names. We want to take Jacinda Ardern's, the Prime Minister of New Zealand's example, and try not to give people recognition. But of course, unfortunately, so many of these faces we
Yeah, we're not going to acknowledge them by name, as if we don't know who these guys are.
do know. And white supremacy is mostly male, but not necessarily so. I've taken out a slide about the policing of white space by white women. You know, there's like, what was it, barbecue patty, you know, all these different women that call on black people because they're just going about their business. But now going.
So this is the kind of brain, this woman who studies architecture and design is going to stand up and tell us that Barbecue Becky is tied. Tell us that Barbecue Becky is tied in with white supremacy, and that there's something wrong with her. She called the police on blacks just because they were living. There was no reason for it. Now, if you were to present to her the idea that if anybody calls the police on anybody else, the reason you assume it's racial is because that's your bias. This says something about you, not Barbecue Becky. And by the way, racial, not Barbecue Becky. And by the way, Barbecue Becky, I don't know if you guys heard the news. She's doing amateur porn now. Somebody sent me a link to her on Pornhub. Not since Tanya Harding have I been so underwhelmed by a sexual performance. Go search it yourself. Type in Barbecue Becky in Pornhub, you shall see. Well, good for the Johns, and
Going back to structures of power, of established power, there's also that scary article that came out in the New York Times some time ago. The top jobs where women are outnumbered by men named John, and that's the CEOs. And you know, right now, Indra Nooy left, so I think that now it's really that it's as many CEO women and as many John.
And try to do better. Try to do better, ladies, if you want to compete with the men of the world. I guess that's my advice to you. But I see that that's not the method that you're going with here. That's not a inspirational statement to say, ladies, we got to compete. Come on. Move your ass. Let's get those CEO jobs, as if that's a job. As if being a CEO is something you create 99% of the time. Unless you're headhunting and swapping out executives. It's pretty much self-made people. So do it, ladies. Nobody's stopping you. Not me and not the Johns.
And then there's even more Jameses. So it really is quite amazing. And the breakdown of race and gender in different establishment positions in the United States is staggering. And I invite you to read it afterwards. And of course, there's all those types of professions in which you start out with a great majority of women, and then the moment they get to the executive.
Is that John Glenn? Is that John Glenn I see? Didn't I talk about that? NASA's too white. So John Glenn is a problem. Why? Damn it, John Glenn. Why couldn't you have been AOC? Condescension. It's based
executive position, they just like fall down in percentage. And that's due to many different things, but mostly it's tradition. It's based on the fact that women don't have the support when they want to have children and work. It's based on in cultures like mine in Italy, it's based on condescension and sexual discrimination.
based on time and reality. If you condescension, it's based on time and reality. If you are going to be a CEO, you're probably going to have to work your ass off all the time. If you want to be a mother and raise kids and prioritize your family, that's probably going to cut into your work life. Kind of makes sense. Why would we make sense. Why would we bend over backwards to be like, you can have it all, ladies? Never before in human history has that been the case. Why would it be? Why would it be? It's retarded. It's not how the free market works. If there's a UFC fighter who trains all day and night, he's a young stud, 25 years old, no family. He lives in the gym, constantly sharpening his skills. And he's going up against a guy who's 34. He's got 3 kids. He works in, he trains a little bit, but he also, has to drive a carpool. He trains. He works in, he trains a little bit. He trains, but he also, he trains, but he also, has to drive a carpool, and he's got to help his kid with his math test. And how do you think those two are going to perform in the cage? And when the guy who trains more beats the guy who has a family, it's not sexism. It's not anything other than a choice. Anything other than a choice that person made to have a family.
Very bluntly, and so on and so forth. But chefs, fashion designers, many of these traditional women's role, cooking and sewing, get then taken over by men, especially in big brand heritage brands when it comes to fashion. So long as it's a small brand, it's all okay. And the same happens also in museums, as you'll see very soon. But let me first, for a moment, talk about the NFL and the NBA. It's really an interesting conundrum. So up there you see Larry Bird. Larry Bird used to be really offended when a white player from the other team would be positioned next to him to guard him, because he said, well, this is almost offensive. We know very well that white men can jump, or that they are not as good as black players. So why are they putting you here just because you're white like me? But then, just comparing it with the NFL, there was a statement by LeBron James recently that talked about the plantation mentality that still.
Yeah. First of all, how would you have known that? I mean, I know that, but how do you know that? And what of it? Larry Bird was white. He was one of the exceptions. Still couldn't jump. Guy could barely dunk. He was 6'9". And yeah, Larry Bird talked amazing. Yeah, and Larry Bird talked shit. Not just to the white dudes that had to guard him. He talked shit to the black dudes. Everyone. So what's your point? Why was that brought up? Just random fun facts about Larry Bird. Yeah. Right. Plantation mentality. So plantations we had. So plantations we mentality. So plantations. Plantation mentality. So plantations were a place. Plantation mentality. So plantations were a place where we had slaves who were not paid, who were barely recognized as human beings. And they're comparing that to NFL owners making every player on their team a multimillionaire. The black players voluntarily sign up to become multimillionaires. They have the cushiest fucking job in the world playing a children's game for the entertainment of people. They are some of the luckiest privileged motherfuckers on the planet. And LeBron James has the stupidity to bring up plantation mentality. Why? Because the NFL owners are white. Yeah, so you see the dynamic. Yeah, so you see the dynamic. The plantation owners were white, and so are the NFL owners. So I guess it's kind of the same. Jesus fucking Christ.
Really occupies so much of the NFL, whereby you have all white owners that treat players as plantation workers.
What? They treat... What? What? They treat players as plantation workers? I wish I'd watch that. I wish I'd watch the fuck out of that. You think they're whipping them during practice? Not famous enough.
Is my mind laying low all night, thinking back at the times you used to call, not think twice, coming home just so you can ease my mind. Trying to ease my mind. I'm feeling like there's no way out. I'm feeling like there's no stopping me. My mind is going round and round, keeps confusing me. I'm feeling like there's no way out. I'm feeling like there's nowhere I should be.
Not...
So tell me now, can you help ease my mind?
And there's the famous case of Colin Kaepernick that
Not famous enough for you to get his name right.
is reveled by so many executives in the NFL for speaking out his truth and not standing during the national anthem, and instead
Speaking out his truth. Hey, speaking out his truth. Hey, quarterback, could you tell me about your truth about police brutality? That's your role as our quarterback. Could you disrespect the country and be a pompous virtue signaling fag? Yeah, Colin Kaepernick is an average quarterback. He was a running quarterback, could not throw. There's a very severe limit as to how well you can do in the NFL if you can't fucking throw.
kneeling. And of course, we have a tradition in the NBA of instead players speaking out and
Hold on,
letting
where
it be
were they
known
doing
how they
the
feel and
demographic
what
stuff?
kind of political statement they want to make. So it really is interesting also the white
Hold
men's
on, where
position
were they
in these
doing
two
the
different
demographic
leagues. But we were
stuff? Let me
talking
find
about
it.
museums. Museums, it's the same thing. Listen, I love all my white male directors. They're all taken one by one, fantastic, but it's quite staggering how it's really that it's as fear and safety. And I had a small group of students, so diverse, it was just, and you see here, for instance, during the Obama administration, this question was asked. Today, discrimination against whites has become as big a problem as discrimination against blacks and other minorities. And you see that white, working class, 66% saying yes. So there's also this perception of the white race and white male patriarchy under attack that has created a lot of stirrings. And also, there's a lot of talk about the fact that in 2045, whites will not be the majority anymore in the United States, and that by 2060, well, okay, and by 2060, actually, even more so.
Okay, so that was nervous laughter. That was nervous laughter. That was applause. There was a murmuring in the crowd of excitement. Now, they weren't sure if it was cool to applaud the racial demographic shrinking of one race in particular. Because on its face, it doesn't seem defensible. These people promote themselves as non-racist, and then someone tells you, oh, by the way, the Mexicans and the blacks are having babies way faster, and the immigrants coming in are mostly not white, so whites are diminishing in numbers. That's not an applause line. If you applaud or giggle or laugh with glee upon hearing that, or laugh with glee upon hearing that, you might be applause line with glee upon hearing that, laugh with glee upon hearing that, you might be an asshole. Now what does this mean? What are the ramifications? Well, what does this mean? What are the ramifications? I'll tell you one thing. This is unprecedented. In no other context would this not be a national news story. If you had people applauding one race of the country being bred out of existence. Now, that's a bit hyperbolic. They're still a bunch of whites. We ain't going anywhere. We might white flight to other white places like I do. But, and we might buffer ourselves from the friggin' scum of the world, white and otherwise, through economic means. But this ain't a good sign at all. And if you've traveled the world, if you've gotten out of your little rinky-dink town every once in a year, every once in a while, you might gather some information and see how people are living, see the color of the people living there, make some observations. Let's, we're pattern-seeking people. Form a pattern. Understand that the information is out there. This is not even a guessing game. We know it already. Now let's move ahead to another part. They brought on Mr. Magoo to talk.
talks, we will
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Is there such a thing as white male culture? A word, a sentence written in English, which was created by white men, at a presentation started by MoMA, the the Museum of Modern Art, an institution founded by white men, in a city built by white men, in a country built by white men. And the question, is there a thing? Is there such a thing as there a thing? Is there such a thing? Well, the fact is we don't call it that because we're not petty identitarian cunts. It went without saying, but now apparently we got to say it because we're being called out to the point of people are applauding our demise. Thanks. That was a short video.
Of course, white male culture exists.
Thanks. That was a short video.
It's got a very long history, and it's a history of
A glorious, happy and glorious history? Is that what you meant to say?
Eurocentrism.
As opposed to what? Eurofringism? We are Euros. Yes. We are concerned with ourselves. It's like saying, hey, you seem to operate in your life in a way that you try to benefit yourself. You're so egocentric. The fuck? As opposed to what? Pakistan? Do they operate? As opposed to what? The people. The fuck? As opposed to what? The people of Pakistan? Do they operate in a pro-Pakistani way? Are they Pakistani-centric? Give me a fucking break.
It's a history where people saw the world very much from a Euro-American perspective.
As opposed to what? Yes, that's who we are. This is not distinguishing us. This is not differentiating us from any other group of humans. You're saying nothing. These are deepities.
But it's not simply the perspective that is important. I think what is also important is that perspective becomes a norm.
Yes, norms are created. Norms are created when you have a lot of one thing. It becomes literally normal for that thing to exist. There's nothing wrong with that being a norm. And it's based on percentages. That's it.
The white male culture and the whiteness of male culture, the whiteness itself, is as if something is unmarked. Identities are unmarked. This is...
Wait, what? Where'd you get common?
The normal, this is the neutral, this is the common good.
Wait. What? Where'd you get common good? It's very, it's a very obvious, it's a very obvious thing to say. This is the normal when you have 85% of your country is white. Now that number has gone down and down. But in other places, like I'm here in Switzerland, yes, it's normal to be white. We don't talk about it because it's like saying, hey, are you right-handed? That's normal to be right-handed. Or, hey, you have two eyes? Not everybody's got two eyes. Some people have one. Or you can see. Wow, wow, we're not. Wow, we're non-blind people. We don't even come up with a word because it's so common and so because it's so a word because come up with a word because it's so common and therefore it's so boring. So now we're being chastised for not being hyper obsessed with our own race because our race doesn't matter to us. It never has. The only reason it does now is because we are under attack from schmucks like you who hold bitterness and anger and jealousy towards us. So if you claim that white people throughout history, oh, they're terrible, this and that. The Nazis, Dylan Roof, oh my God, you see what they did with the Indians? If you fear us that much, here's a little piece of advice. Don't antagonize us. You know what we're capable of.
This is the notion of progress. So whiteness stands for this notion of the unmarked.
What the fuck are you talking about, brown white male culture? You literally just had a senile moment. You literally just had a senile moment.
Natural, national, or cultural sign. To that extent, you can be brown in India, and if you're a Hindu, you're also part of that brown, white male culture.
Yeah, how many different ways can you say America is a majority white country? This is not riveting information. What is your point? What is your fucking problem with us? Can we just stop? Whiteness is not...
Whiteness then assumes that everything...
Can we just stop? Can we just stop? Whiteness is not some detached thing that has consciousness. It's a made-up word. Whiteness doesn't do or think anything. Now, what this man is describing, and many people of color do this,
else, all other forms of identity or culture or being are to be seen in relation to it.
What this man is describing, and many people of color do this, is they're exhibiting their own psychological frailty. They're telling the world, I want to be part of the majority. I feel different. I'm not one of the normal people. It's your goddamn problem. Okay? You live in one of the best countries on earth. Sorry it was founded by white people. Sorry it's majority white. Just wait. Just keep waiting because Sinead. Just keep waiting. Just keep waiting. Just keep waiting, because LaPortia and Shanae will have it non-majority white in a couple of decades. But there's literally no point here. You're just a petty, jealous, angry cunt. That's it. And I'm calling you out. And I am calling you out. LaPortia and Shanae. Oh, here we go. This is where the not only are some of us white, we're oh, here we go.
Whiteness presents that measure. Now let's talk about the maleness of it. Maleness, again, is not simply about gender.
Not only are some of us white, we're also male. Oh God, a perfect storm of bigotry.
Of course, it's very much to do with power and gender. But in the cultural sphere, the male is about all forms of efficiency versus the ethics, action versus a notion of the means.
This is babble. Efficiency versus the ethics? That meant nothing, good sir. This is fake intellectualism. These are people who intellectualism. These are people who get up there and pretend to say things of import. These are people who get up. These are people who get up there and pretend to sound. These are intellectualism. These are people who get up there and pretend to sound astute or academic, and they're just not. The whole thing is a farce. And the colleges and the professors and people involved in academia, they're drenched in this. The hell are you?
Judgment is made less important than achievement. Speed is made more important than reflection. So maleness, quite apart from its gender basis, also becomes a set of cultural issues. And when you put the whiteness and its notion of the unmarked together with maleness and its sense that it is born to progress, it will be unimpeded.
What the hell are you talking about? Whiteness, the notion of the unmarked, the unsullied. What are we? What are we talking about? The mark of the beast? Who thinks like this? Who thinks like this? Who talks like this? Good sir, you are fucking delusional.
It will achieve, irrespective of ethical and moral issues, then you get a white male culture. But I think what we see now, as increasingly, with the kind of aggression and violence unleashed against minorities.
Oh, really? Aggression and violence unleashed against minorities. That's how many attacks have we had from white people? 5 of note in the past few years? I mean, do you seriously want to play a game of cherry picking? Do you think that the overall numbers reflect whites attacking minorities? What a colossal joke. Look at any of the stats. It's minorities attacking whites, not just by a country mile. It comes the other way. So you are frigging lost. And I don't know who would be. I'd have, and I'd have, and I have no idea who would buy into this. But apparently, these finger snapping, artsy artsy fartsy types who are into modern art, they're the exact audience.
In our world is not a white male culture as much as it is a white male subculture. It is a subculture of violence.
Yeah, that defines us. Without violence, what is a white man? Really, that's all we're. That's pretty much all. Really, that's all we're. Really, that's pretty much all we're about.
It comes out of populist nationalism, and its violence is.
Yeah, didn't we found all the democracies of the world? Not to mention the social, the social, the socialistic democracies. But yeah, I guess we're just goose stepping Nazis. Yeah. I see a super chat. I forgot that I was broadcasting. Let me thank him. It's very uncommon for me to get super chats because I don't have not monetized on my channel anymore. Say hello. Well, I might take a break here and do this tomorrow. But I think I'm going to watch some trailers, and I invite you to join me because I want to see what is coming up, what's new. It's you get lost in daily shuffle, and there's no way to keep track of what's coming out, especially because half the shit we're ignorant of. Like, I have no idea what to expect, ever. Hi, how's it going? Geek culture roaming the plains of North America, his herds of victims of genocide by the white man. Geek, what happened to Danny DeVito? Oh, Jesus, nice. Deke. Brown Danny DeVito, yeah, Indian Danny DeVito. He's got some things to say. Can't hear anything. Can you hear my voice? Hello, 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 hello. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah. All right, let's watch some trailers. New movie trailers.
To my right is Bounty Law series lead.
It's a new Quentin Tarantino movie. So, square footage, Leo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt working with Quentin Tarantino. It's pretty much a guaranteed hit.
And Jake Cahill himself, Rick Dalton. And to my left is Rick's stunt double, Cliff Booth. So, Rick, explain to the audience exactly what it is a stunt double does.
Actors are required to do a lot of dangerous stuff. Cliff here is meant to help carry the load.
Is that how you describe your job, Cliff?
What, carrying his load? Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah, Quentin has this thing where he's going to do 10 films and then retire, something like that. I'll probably go back on it. But the 9th film, it's an interesting way to phrase it. And he's got this sort of a pale yellow here. I guess it's an image of a city, Los Angeles, based on the pollution and the topic, which is Hollywood. Reminiscent of Kill Bill, but also that driving bass line is similar to Pulp Fiction. So the guy has patterns. Yeah, hot young blonde. That's another pattern he's got. I'm not mad at it. Jesus Christ, I would rest my balls on every part of her face. It's Brad Pitt looking more like Robert Redford every week. Margot Robbie, there it is, Australian. Probably putting on an American accent, which she can pull off. She did it in the Tanya Harding film. And we got Pussycat Theater. Where's that? That's somewhere in, I guess, Hollywood.
My hands are registered as lethal weapons. We get into a fight, I accidentally kill you.
That's a really good Bruce Lee. I mean, that being said, all Asians look alike, but
I go to jail.
Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter.
it's funny. Brad Pitt, you know, you think of acting and you think, what is acting? It's really not that much of it is pretending to be someone else. Like Brad Pitt right there sounds indistinguishable from his role in Inglourious Bastards, which I guess is Quentin Tarantino, and he said, yeah, keep doing that. But like the tone of his voice, the cadence, the character, the vibe. So people don't have that much range, is what I'm saying. It's like, but also maybe it's not even that important because we like Brad Pitt. I like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, just put him in a movie, be Brad Pitt, be Morgan Freeman, be whoever, you know, like be Denzel. That's basically what the Liam Neeson films are and the Denzel Washington films. It's just, look, yeah, you can have a story, you can have a plot, but we like the guys. We like these dudes. We like their personalities. So, yes, they can read lines that you wrote for them, but it's still Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt. Let's get a close up on that Robbie. I think that's Margot Robbie, yeah? Okay. Looking like some B cups. Youthful vitality, girl getting in a pool. Whoa! It's a classic vibe. Makes me want to go swimming. And there's Leo doing a little dance. Reminds me of, didn't he do that film set in the 50s where he's faking to be an airline pilot? Catch Me If You Can, I believe. Yeah. I don't like the staticness of these. So like on these cutaways once, they got lazy with it. There's no motion whatsoever. It's not animated. It's not coming at us. It's not going away from us. There's no particles. There's no lighting. There's nothing happening. Watch, it's dead. Still, just static. It just kills the vibe. Once upon a time in Hollywood, it wasn't a shithole, filled with like trannies and drug addicts and cringy tourists and a gaggle of Mexicans and homeless people and criminals and the gays. The gays are in West Hollywood, but yeah, Hollywood is not a place to go. Like if you go to LA, I'm going to be going to LA in a couple months. Don't go to Hollywood. It's not worth it.
That was the best acting I've ever seen in my whole life.
This is good acting from Leo.
Like you. Rick fucking no.
Now, I don't think that is in reaction. You saw the obvious cut they just did there. Great fucking note. I mean, it's funny in this context because this little kid says that's the best acting, and he says great note. But a note is usually a direction from a director. So it's giving you a motivation, giving you something to go off for the next take. And it's funny here because it's ludicrous that he would react like that to that little girl. So I doubt that that's how it plays out in the movie. This is a humor caused by the editor. Okay. We're off to the races. AIU Resurrection sound balance between voice and trailer is way off. Trailer is super loud. Hello, hello, hello. Sound balance as if I give a shit. There you go. I tried. All the good actors are getting old. Okay. Let's see what this is. New York City. Ominous. Oh, lightning strike in the distance. What do we got? A Armageddon type scenario? I mean, what are the chances that Lady Liberty makes it through this film? Pitbull. Okay, usually accompanied by a black man. Let's see.
You have no idea.
Incorrect. It's Keanu, and it is... What's that film? John Wick? Unbelievable that they've made 3 of these.
What's coming?
This is what I'm talking about. This is Keanu Reeves playing Keanu Reeves. But, I mean, generic action Keanu Reeves. Like, I made the website for a film called... What the fuck was it called? It was him. It was all religious. It was like an action horror thing. Fuck, it was bad. I forget what it was. But he literally dressed the same. Like, ever since The Matrix, like him in a black suit, they're tapping into that visual, that branding.
Mr. Wick broke the rules.
Oh my god. This guy's been a villain in many things.
I trust you understand the repercussions if he survives.
Attacking an Asian in a knife shop.
John Wick, excommunicado, is now in effect.
So the heightened reality of this franchise is kind of retarded. Like, there's this cabal of assassins, and they are run like the Men in Black, and they have weird rules and codes of conduct, but they're all mercenaries and they're out for money, and it's all just a preposterous setup to get to, staged action scenes like this. So I never buy it. I mean, it's not even close to realism, this film. So, which is different than the Taken series and the Equalizer series with Denzel, which are far more firmly grounded in reality. This is like just playful, more whimsical, and yet we're supposed to buy it. I don't know if they really nail the tone quite right with all that.
You shouldn't be.
Oh my god, Halle Berry, they unearthed her? What? She get her tits out. Halle Berry, they're like, we have a script. John Wick 3 with Keanu Reeves. Sure. I got nothing else going on, really. I mean, shit.
Here.
And the movie's over.
Nice suit.
That's black and white crime. Half black.
Good to see you too. I need your help.
Oh god, she's the ex. Look at her tits, still bouncing.
After
That shot has been seen in so many action films. Knife lands in between legs. I mean, Indiana Jones had something like that. I bet you there's a compilation of near crotch shots.
this,
James Bond for sure.
we are less
Austin Powers probably parodied it.
than even.
There's Halle Berry overacting. Dude.
There's no escape for you. The high table wants your life.
Would you help set the mood for our new guest?
Let us begin.
Oh, classical. Did I call it? I had to have called it. Play it back. Rewind, and you'll see I say classical before the beat drops.
Our service is still off limits to me. What do you need? Guns.
Oh, God. Our service is... He's a terrible actor, I gotta say. Our service is still unlimited to me. You gotta shave that beard back, too. He's doing Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, part 2 or 3, I guess. Kind of like a Dumb and Dumber did part 2 on that, just years later. That's kind of sad. I mean, I don't know what his career path is or why. And this whole idea, I need guns, that's straight from The Matrix. When The Matrix in the final battle, they go, how are we gonna fight them? We need weapons, we need guns. And they go and they load up on guns.
Lots of guns.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, shit. Do you see how there's motion in this at least? Now it looks like some guy, some art student got crazy with like bevels and 3D and, lens flare in the background. It looks like, I don't know, retro 80s futurism. It's weird, but at least it's moving. At least they're trying something.
You think you can take John Wick? You got a nasty surprise coming.
Wow. Did I not just mention The Matrix? What in the fuck? I told you they're ripping The Matrix, and what do? They cast Lawrence Fishburne, otherwise known as Samuel L. Jackson, in the role of I don't know, mentor, sensei, Yoda, Mr. Miyagi. And even the green. Look at the green tint. That's the Matrix. Are you aware that the Matrix is just laced in green? It's all over that film, and they've put it here. This is blatant at this point.
I've been looking forward to meeting you.
God, it's so cliche to fight Asians. I mean, come on. Are we really going to fight an Asian? And they're going to bust out martial arts? Come on.
For a long time. And so far, you haven't disappointed.
We can keep this up as long as you'd like. But this only ends one way.
God, oh, they gave away quite a lot of the action sequences there. John Wick 3, it's an interesting color scheme here. The pinks and purples and this deep blue. I can't believe that the first two films had the same color thing. So they're going with a new vibe here. I like it. It's pleasing. I don't think it suits their target audience. John Wick 3. I mean, this is looking like a font treatment for Fast and the Furious. Parabellum? Why did they just throw that in there and cut away real quick?
All of this for what?
Here's a joke or like here's Keanu acting. Watch this.
Because of a puppy?
Wasn't just a puppy.
Okay, so they're tapping into the meme that it's about this dog, and people are sort of fascinated by the fact that the guy got his dogs killed, and he's fighting back. Experience it. Maybe if I'm on an airplane.
Everyone, Bonnie
Oh my God. Toy Story.
made a friend in class.
Oh, she's already making friends.
No.
Let's see how good the writing is. Let's see if they take any chances.
Oh, no, she literally made a new friend. I want you to meet Forky.
How does Forky have consciousness? Because what are the rules? If you're a toy, when does the realization that you have thoughts, like, I think, therefore I am? Forky, I mean, didn't undergo anything special. Forky's just literally, glued together little pieces and parts. So I'm not buying it.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Ah!
He's a spork. Yes, yeah, I know. Forky is the most important toy to Bonnie right now. We all have to make sure nothing happens to him.
Woody, we have a situation.
I am not a toy. I was made for soup, salad, maybe chili, and then the trash.
So it's spork humor, and we're gonna come up with another story for these characters, and they got all the voice actors. Man, I guess that Family Dollar, like, families don't care. They're like, look, I need to get my kids entertained for 2 hours.
Buzz, we've got to get Forky.
Affirmative.
Why am I alive? You're Bonnie's toy. You are going to help create happy memories that will last for the rest of her life.
I worked on the ad campaign for Toy Story 2 and came up with a whole variety of different ads and video format. It was pretty cool.
Huh? What?
Oh, yeah.
So they're really banking on Forky?
Oh. Bo? Forky, come on. Bo?
Bo?
Hi there. My name is Gabby Gabby.
We can't stay.
Yes, you can. Boys. Woody, behind you!
Bo! What are you doing here?
No time to explain. Come with me.
We need to get back to our kid.
Aw, Sheriff Woody, always coming to the rescue.
Bonnie needs Forky.
Woody, who needs a kid's room when you can have all of this?
Wow. Woody, aren't we going to Bonnie?
We have to find them.
What do we do, Buzz?
What would Woody do?
Jump out of a moving vehicle?
Let's go!
Hey, you gotta go, you gotta go.
If you should ever leave me.
You know, you've handled this lost toy life better than I could.
Open your eyes, Woody. There's plenty of kids out there. Sometimes change can be good.
You can't teach this old toy new tricks.
You'd be surprised.
Bonnie? We're going home, Forky.
I'm so disinterested. Holy shit. It's just standard. There's going to be a message, a moral, friendship matters, and loyalty and all that. Oh my God. A road trip, all of it, buddy.
My way, Woody!
To infinity and beyond!
Don't let Woody leave. Kids lose their toys every day.
I was made to help a child. I don't remember it being this hard.
Woody, somebody's whispering in your ear. Everything's gonna be okay.
It's like a emotional crisis for Woody. Oh man, what the hell? Totally didn't need to be made. That's just sad. Why not just come up with a new concept? Answer? Money.
You found yourself a Pokemon partner.
No.
Cute.
Oh. I have no idea about anything to do with Pokemon. I'm definitely not going to watch this. Nothing. This means nothing to me.
That feels so good. What happened?
I'm a world-class detective. If you want to find your pops, I'm your best bet.
That's Ryan Reynolds. Told you. Told you.
Do this!
Don't pretend you're not impressed.
No.
Justice Smith? Who's that?
We're not doing that. Fine, I'll walk. I'm trying to get in 100,000 steps this hour.
Jokes.
Your childhood bed is a Pikachu bed. I've never been so flattered and creeped out at the same time.
My God, it's like Howard the Duck for a new generation. Shit.
You know the jungle.
Rape bait.
It's a part of you. But
Oh, that guy's a funny comedic actor and pretty good. Got some range. I like that guy.
exploring is not a game. And you don't look before you leap.
Oh, is that where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? What is this?
I'm okay, Boots.
We're on to something big, Dora.
An ancient city.
Dora the Explorer. Okay, so a live action thing from a kid's production, and it's happy and it's fun, and it's like Tomb Raider, but just with smaller boobs and more melanin.
City made of gold. Parapata. And your mother and I are gonna prove it.
And me.
It's for Latins.
I'm sorry, sweetie, you're not going.
What?
Being
Wait, who is that? Look at the dumper on that chick.
in the city around.
That's fucking, what's her name? Used to be married to the French point guard for the San Antonio Spurs. And now she's doing mom roles. They're like, is that Ava Longoria?
Kids your
Oh man. She's the mom in Dora the Explorer. Yeah, makes sense.
own age, like Diego, might help.
So you're gonna get invited to some of these parties called raves. The music sounds like this. Go get it! Be careful.
So it's awkward because he's supposed to at the same time be a dad and have a role, play a character in this, but he's also doing stand-up shtick because he himself, the actor, is a funny guy, but like it doesn't make sense in the context of the film, and it doesn't work.
That's what we want to say.
Cousin Diego, you're so skinny and tall.
You are way more energetic than I remember. Dora, this isn't the jungle. It's high school. It's life or death. Keep a low profile.
Just be yourself. Excuse me, I'm kind of stuck.
And just be cool, Dora.
Okay, what is this?
Oh,
Where did you transfer from?
the jungle.
Here's the scavenger
That's racist.
hunt list. Team up in groups of 4.
Hola, Dora.
Let me go! Hide!
You'll help us find your parents and the lost city of gold.
Kids' movies are such cheese, aren't they? Just cheese.
Where are we? All I see is jungle.
I see 3 mercenaries, armed.
Oh, look. Dora brought a knife on the field trip, everybody.
Come with me if you want to live. I were with your parents. You're all in danger.
We're gonna die out here.
There's no need to overreact. Get it off! Get it off!
Oh, it's so processed. It's so forced, isn't it? Oh, it's a totally different realm. They dumb it down so hard for kids. Damn it. It's such formula shit.
Boots! Of course, she knows this monkey.
It's now or never!
Booby traps in a tomb? Where have I seen that?
I have to keep going no matter what.
She's freaking awesome.
I think we're safe. Not safe. Not safe. Not safe.
Door on the Lost City of Gold. Okay.
This film is not yet.
Ava Longoria. Not yet rated, as if it's going to be R. Huh. Interesting.
This film is not yet rated.
Do you recall the Osiris Club?
He's back?
Oh, yeah.
Hellboy. Okay, Hellboy. I like that. This might be a new trailer.
Joint in Jersey. Now, the other one, the British Occult Society, formed in 1866 by the ranking members of the Heliopic Brotherhood of Ra.
Ra? I met Ra once in the underworld.
So I like the fact that they jump in just into a scene. So it's not, it's no music. It might kick in, but at least they give you a chance to latch on to something real happening. I met Ra. I like this guy. He embodies the role, and he's a good lead character for this over-the-top cartoonish, what is he, demon?
He's a close talker.
Well, like us, they fight against the forces of darkness, and our organizations have a long-standing relationship. They're old friends of mine, and they've requested your assistance with a giant problem.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Giants.
What?
Feeling like a failure?
Well, life passed you by.
I can't take any more rejection.
Honey, you remember Kevin?
Wow, Kit, you look just the same.
So what's your plan now that you've been kicked out of school?
I've taken a temporary position at a public relations firm.
Did you always know this is what you wanted to do? Or did you want to do another thing first?
Like, did I dream of figure skating, but my parents wouldn't pay for the lessons? You don't want to be a temp forever, do you?
Kit, got a letter for you.
Get ready. Get ready for what?
You have come to the store, Kit. And I am the salesman.
What?
Behold, we sell what you need.
Unicorns? That was the only thing I ever wanted.
If I have one brought here, I have to know that you're for real.
Directed by Brie Larson. Oh God, that just says a lot. Okay, so this is her puff piece little personal project, starring Brie Larson, directed by Brie Larson. Yeah, that doesn't seem problematic. So she's a girl, a young girl. She's trying to find her way in the world, but it lacks meaning. It lacks purpose. She's a little bit aimless, and somehow a unicorn is tied into this, and it's female empowerment, and it's gonna come across as like a tampon commercial. Look at these colors. See, these are the same colors as the John Wick. This makes more sense with this audience, but
I've made
and she's artsy too. Like you see the paint splatter in that thing.
a decision. I'm building a home worthy of a unicorn. I'm thinking of something
fuck,
like a stable.
She's insane. Oh, but look how woke she is. She's hanging with the black. Look how emaciated she is. That's, dude, eat.
I don't think a pony wants to live in your basement.
That's a good point.
Do you think this is some kind of joke?
Should we just get you a puppy?
I know that I'm just a disappointment. You're always like, why don't
She's a good actress. She's been in a bunch of stuff. But this is on Netflix. Okay, what am I thinking? So this is like an after-school special. No, it's not crazy. I just want to build a stable. If you build it, they will come.
you have a boyfriend? Or why aren't you just more like Kevin?
Oh, someone call me?
No!
I don't know how to be a grown-up.
I don't know how to be a grown-up. So this is sort of teen angst, slacker angst, aimless, clueless generations of people just trying to figure something out, and they put motivational music in the background, and you go down some whimsical yet quirky path, and you'll find it. It's in the journey, man. It's in the process, and it's all about the people around you.
My parents think that I'm insane.
Honey, what is really going on?
This is crazy.
Samuel L. Jackson cannot say no to a project. Holy shit, he's like Michael Caine. For fuck's sake, Sam, you have enough money. Why are you doing this?
The most grown-up thing you can do is fail at things you really care about.
Oh, that's Melissa. Oh, fuck. Joan. Oh my God. Say anything is the star. Say anything is. Oh fuck. Oh my god, my brain. Please, please, brain, please work. Joan Cusack. Got it.
You need to learn to love yourself. Get out there and show us what you can do.
I will!
See the paint splatter? The sound in the background. There's no right way to find your joy, your bliss. There's no right way to be an adult. Just keep the the passion of youth. Keep that optimism and that spirit alive, but also, you could transition into more responsibility and you could carve out your own path, but listen to music.
You got this. Everybody needs some magic in their lives.
She's fucking retarded. And look, she's dating the black guy. Fucking hell. Brie Larson is the most progressive of all time. My God. Dating a black dude. Taking it too far. I thought you were crazy with the unicorn shit.
Even if they're all grown up.
Tell me,
Unicorn store. By the way, this guy's gay as shit.
where does this unicorn come from?
Did I just say it? Did I tell you? I told you by the vibes, man. I mean, good lord. Guy makes Jussie Smollett look like frickin' Tank Abbott. You won't get that reference. Let me try that again. Take two. This guy makes Jussie Smollett look like Triple H. You probably won't get that either. You don't get a lot of things, to be honest.
The unicorn store.
Oh, of course.
Oh, she's so cute. She's like a cute Brie Larson. Brie Larson. She's so cute. Written by Samantha McIntyre. Oh, it was a script that came across Brie's desk, and she said, "This is delightful. It's magical. It's feminine. It has some good points. We're going to have blacks in it, and it's going to be about finding your chi, finding your bliss." Good lord. Not for me. We got one more left, maybe. Oh, Netflix. You disappoint. Fox Searchlight. Okay, serious tone on this one. This is definitely not a comedy. It's going to be drama. Fox Searchlight. I think they're known for their dramas. Little bass comes in. And it's space, the final frontier. Gravity, part 2. And we have an upside down somebody. Is it a big name actress? Gotta be a black woman in there, no? And it's a woman. It's Natalie Portman. What the fuck? Do you realize that 10% of the people that have ever gone to space are women? 10%. And what do you know? There's Natalie. Oh, they should have sent a poet.
Specialist.
Oh my god.
Lucy.
Fidgets in space. Look at little
Time to wrap it up.
Matilda.
We're going home.
Something's going to happen. Death. Somehow the human spirit is going to be put on to trial here. Something. What is it? Could it be any other plot than... I mean, I'm trying to think here. Try to predict this. An accident leaves her adrift? No. She's trying to do something with the Russians in a space station, and there's some sort of sabotage, terrorism. What could it possibly be? Aliens? Alien. Oh, okay, how about while they're up in space, Earth goes to shit, nuclear war. How about that?
Go, Polaris is...
Oh, we got the madman.
Go. We are all green.
Make your prediction now. Okay, let's see if we get any clues here.
Lift off in 10.
These are flashbacks? Is that Scarlett Johansson?
9.
It's about female.
Just feel a little off.
8.
What?
Go up there.
Look how cute she is. She's such a little... I mean... She's a small girl.
You see?
7.
The whole universe.
Okay, so is this like a real life thing? So it's a breakthrough pioneer. She's the first woman to walk in space. What is it?
6. And everything here looks 5, 4, so small. 3, 2.
Noah Hawley, very unladylike. So, what is this? The story of a female becoming an astronaut going to space and then flashing back to her life and her making deep thoughts in space? I don't. There's no story here.
You got to see the vast celestial everything. And it blew your mind. So now nothing makes sense.
No, so she comes back and she's having revelations about, I don't know, she had an epiphany and she views things different. It's like Sam Harris when he dropped acid. What? They show us nothing.
I'm fine.
Beautiful girl. Lucy in the Sky. Academy Award winner. Uh-huh. You see the little glow? They put a little font glow on that. Well, very cryptic, sort of self-serious. What was that? Reese Witherspoon's? Is she producer? Produced by Reese Witherspoon. Wow. Yeah, it seems like Oscar baity wannabe. I'm not digging it. Didn't like it. So overall, fairly disappointing. Jesus Christ, man! Thank you. Views on Gank in Russia. Well, after you dropping that load on me, I will give you my views. They are not overly interesting, I wouldn't say. I think Genk is trying to be pompous and to say he's right all the time, and so he predicted everything. And the Mueller report comes out, and it says no collusion, but it's, these people are just, they're people that are pulling strings, and like, who's the guy Barr? He lets him off on obstruction. I mean, it's so obviously a political hack move, and the idea that Trump didn't do anything, like, clearly they did meet with the Russians on multiple occasions. Clearly he does have financial ties to Russia, massive conflicts of interest. Clearly he did try to obstruct justice and fire the leader of the FBI. But in terms of Gang, I mean, Gang's holding on to hope that future reports will get Trump in trouble, and Gang will say, "Oh, I called it," and the truth is there's just way more stuff that Trump has done and is doing that he can go down for. He could have been impeached 20 times over at this point. But I think the general gist of it, the mood of the Democratic Party, not to mention the Congress, the American people, is we're essentially in the new election cycle already. I mean, we have people doing presidential campaign shit right now. So I think people are going to go for they're not going to try to impeach or even bother or waste the energy because the guy's bombastic with his rhetoric and he is making open threats about civil war and violence and bloodshed, and they just say fuck it. The easiest way is just do it, vote him out. I mean, he already lost by 3 million. Let's just if you rally behind anybody, there's an easy case to be made that he could be bounced out. So that's what I think happens. Anyway, good shit. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm gonna go to sleep, I think. It's late.